How do parents manage taking their children to the bathroom if they are the opposite sex? I have as a woman have tooed outside a women's public bathroom, so a dad could use it and change their child's diaper if there was no change table and the men's still too common IMO. I just let anyone going in know that there is a dad doing a diaper change. No one seems to mind, and if they did, they could wait a minute before entering. You go to the bathroom that aligns with the parent's gender. If there's no changing table in that bathroom, but there is one in the other bathroom, then you loudly announce your presence and complain about the patriarchy to anyone who comes in. Kids are typically allowed in any with their parent. As a dude, I find a changing table in the men's room most of the time. The one time I was out without my wife in a men's room with no changing table, I just walked into the women's bathroom. I said, "Sorry, need a changing table." Nobody gave a shit. I've heard men complain that they had to change their baby's diaper on the floor because there was no changing table in the men's room. I've changed my kids on a travel mat on the floor when they were little if there wasn't a table in the men's or no family room. It's wrong, but that's why I bought a travel map to go in the change bag. Sometimes, men ask women to take their children in the ladies' room with them. No fucking way I'm taking some strange man's kid alone into a bathroom. This happened with my son when he was too young. His mom and I went out to lunch. He needed a change, so I took him into the men's room, came back to the table, and she knew why right away. So she had to get up and go into the ladies' room to change him. While we were paying, we mentioned to the manager there was no changing station in the men's room. It's common to let children use any gendered restroom. It's also fucked up that men's restrooms don't have a changing table. I've had to put clothes down on the floor to change my kids before. I took my daughter into the men's room when she was 4, and all she did was give comments on how bad it smelled and how the guy in the next stall was pooting a lot. Father here raised 3 girls. Men's toilets are disgusting 90% of the time. Pee all over the seat and floor. I've held my girls in the air over a toilet more times than I recall. Never saw a baby changing baby other than Walmart's. When I knew my girls could open a door and do the process without getting their clothes dirty on pee-covered floors, they soloed to the ladies' rooms. Family bathrooms were not around so much 28 years ago. Just pee-covered toilets in stinky men's rooms. Since being a dad, I am careful to not leave pee or anything behind when I use a bathroom. Sounds like common sense, but it's not common practice. I'd say about half of men's rooms have a changing table. Without one, I'd change them on the countertop where the sinks were. If that wasn't the option, had to go with Plan Z, pull a roll of paper towels out and lay them on the floor and change them there. They started going to the bathroom themselves at about 4. Most men's rooms have changing tables. And yeah, 4-year-olds go into the restroom with their parent. There are stalls in the men's room too. When my daughters were young, I often took them to the mall on rainy days when I had them because they had an indoor play area that was free. The mall didn't have changing tables in the men's room, no family rooms, and I was asked once to not use the women's room. So I changed them on the tables in the food court. They updated the men's room following that and made family restrooms. Not a typical experience, but a relevant one. A church in my town had a carnival and they had some trailer bathrooms brought in. They were all single rooms, but had gender signs on the door. My daughter was potty trained, but still in the stage that when she tells me she needs to go now. The men's was occupied, but the female side was open, so I started to go in. That's when a boomer volunteer stepped in like she was some kind of bathroom superhero defending the female stall from males everywhere. I told the silver-haired superhero that my daughter needs to go poop, like now, and needs help doing it. So either she can go help my daughter, or I will, but we can't wait any longer. She kind of just stood there processing. I went in, and I'm happy to report we made it in time. She wasn't standing there when we came out. TLDR. Took my daughter into a female-labeled single bathroom and had a boomer try to stop me. I bring my opposite-sex child into my bathroom. Usually a disabled bathroom will have a changing table. I don't know what happens in regions where they only have them in women's areas. When my children were in diapers and there was no changing table in the men's room, but one in the women's room, I took them to the women's room even though I am a man. The one time a woman said something, I just replied that there was no changing table in the men's and she just went about her business. I had dad take my daughter to the female toilet. I knock, loudly announce my intentions and go in. Since female toilets have doors in Europe without a gap at the bottom, everyone can have their privacy. Before, if there wasn't a diaper changing station in the men's and disabled toilet, I used the female one. Nobody gave a shit. My son is 5, and is just now allowed to go to the bathroom by himself in public places we trust. At church or decently safe places, he goes by himself. But at local busy stores, he still goes with either my wife or me, unless it is a one-person only room and we check that it's empty. If he goes with my wife, of course he goes into the women's room with her. Most men's bathrooms have changing tables these days. Not all do, though, and I've had to change my son's diapers on a sink or something when he was a baby. We kept a clean pad to change him on in our diaper bag. Even so, I did sometimes use that as an excuse to have my wife change him when we were in a place where the men's room didn't have one. For me, it's not an age thing as much as a combination between competence including safety and the environment. So it's probably a spectrum. However, I suspect that whatever the spectrum, outside of disability, he would probably be on his own well before puberty. As a dad, if I had a daughter, I'd probably be a lot more concerned either way. So maybe it's easier for me that I only have a son. In my city, there are usually changing tables in both or neither.